Well, this has gotten a little bit tall. I mean, I've got it up in the air, so that makes sense. But it's long, 11 and a half inches tall. When I put the top on it, it's probably going to be another 5. Oh well. Anyway, this is all glued. Glue's all set up. Really nice, colorful glue. All good. Stickiness at the top, I don't know why. Don't know what that was. Why did that sticky? Don't know. Anyway, so I've got my waste block and my urn. This will be the feet. This will be the bead at the bottom. This will be the bead at the top. Pretty exciting. Next is to try to figure out if I can triangulate where, glue it twice and get it, where the center, I know the center of the top, but I don't have a center of the bottom. I tried mapping one out on this piece of wood, and then I realized that that was a stupid thing. Because I could center it on this, but I don't know that this is centered on that. So now I've got to go figure out, I think I'm going to try something on the table saw to try to trim this thing on 4 sides so that I can be sure it's, or more sure that it's on the center of the barrel. The point of the center at this point is I've trimmed the top and the bottom of the cylinder so that this surface and this surface are parallel and square to the axis of the cylinder. But if I mount this crooked, then all of a sudden that's all gone. And it could bite me in the ass, and you know, exactly. So I'm going to put a little more effort into this, and then it's going to get a plate mounted to it, and I'm going to take it to the lathe and see if I can spin it without it jumping off. Let's go see what happens. I know how I want it to go. Got those 3 little nails that I drove in, and at some point I'm going to clip one with a chisel, and I'm really going to resent it. So let's take a minute and dig them out. I set them in kind of deeply. It wasn't my best thinking. They're a little bit hard to get at. Well, harder still, so I didn't make a big enough hole to retrieve them. There we go. We'll get it. Oh, that's that sound of goodness. There we go. There we go. Good. All 3 are out. I feel better about that. It's the little things. Like that. All right. See how we did. Okay, so I got through the table saw, rubbing on a spot here because I had a standoff on the fence, and trimmed this below that, and trimmed it on each side. Came out a little bit different on this side. I mean, it's a little bit shifted. It's a little bit shifted, not much. Like a 1/16 of an inch, which is 32nd, because it's 1/16 to one side. Not an awful lot, but it'll be, I believe now, when I find the center of this in its new condition, it'll be more like this, because this is a little bit, not quite. That's great. I think this worked. My little standoff rubbing on the side of this thing, I think worked. Felt right. We'll see. So now I'm going to take my old marks and sand them off and pull my corners, find a new center, mark it well, and try to get a faceplate on this. See what happens. I'm going to move down to the other end of the bench. No, I'm going to do it right here. You can watch from right here. It'll be great. My new center is here rather than there. It's not much. It's really not much. I don't mind it not being much. On the one hand, it doesn't mean that it's right now either, but just probably closer. Probably. So I've drawn a new circle. I'm centering my faceplate in that new circle. You know, this is all a teeny bit arbitrary. But looks good. All right. And I lost my pencil. I'm going to get my ears tightened at some point. Okay, this right here is my 6. And I'm going to bracket it in case I have to take this off and put it back on, and would like to have that happen in the same place. So, screws. I'm going to put a lot of screws in because I'm a little bit timid. That shifted. I felt it. I can see it. Better. Not much better. Not a lot better. Try it again. Remember that whole arbitrary thing? Yeah. Better. Try this. Better. Better. Good, good. All right. So, screws in the middle, okay. Screws on the outside edge, better. Now, I know that these are just drywall screws, and they're not as strong as real steel screws because they've been hardened. They're not as ductile. Their strength is not the issue. It's the ductility. But here's the drill here. I'm going to have 12 of them in here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but this is a block of pine. It's not like it's a piece of hardwood. It's only going to grip the screws so hard. I'm pretty confident. At least so far, I haven't had one of these things fall off. Now, truth, I haven't done anything like this. This extreme. But here we are. That is going to get put on the lathe. I'm going to turn the outside of it center to center just to make myself feel good. And then I'm going to pull a tailstock off and have this thing floating in the air, hanging off my spindle. And that'll be fun. Let's go do that. Alright, I got a little tidying up to do here. I don't quite have enough space for this. Oh baby. Get no clue as to what's going to happen. You know, once again, know what I'd like to have happen, because I don't know if that'll be the thing. Alright, so a little bit of oil on this because I'm nervous and I've got an oil can. So it'll help in the removal. I'm in third gear. Not sure if that's right or not. bumping. Let's just the hell of it see what this looks like. Oh man, that looks so close to center. I think I've succeeded. I think I've succeeded. I really do. Not awful. Maybe a 16th of an inch will run out. Pretty darn nice. Well, that's first hurdle. It's great. Chuck holds it well. It's at the right place. I'm going to leave this in for right now. I've got to move my rest, or just get a bigger one. I think that's what I'll do. Just get a longer rest. This rest will carry me down so I can trim this waist block. That's a good thing. Swings free. Good, good, good. I'm going to trim this, my waist block, to the circle right now. That's satisfying. It's working out. I like working out. All right, so I've trimmed down. Now I'm going to trim this whole base part down to a cylinder. Smooth and round. That'll get me into my octagons, and I have no idea how that's going to work out, but we're hoping it's going to work out real well. It's feeling okay, but it's, you know, be good to take a look too. Not quite oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Ha! Coming into the grain, it's really chopping. Ooh. Wow. It's, look at that. That's tearing like crazy. And it's everywhere. Well, just before I go any further, I mean, clearly I could sharpen my chisel more. I'm going to try a scraper on it, just to see if that's going to be the answer before I go too far. Alright, sharpen up the scraper. This is a thinner tool, so I have to get a little closer. Not a problem. And survey says might be better. Couple of the pieces. This one's still got a tear out in it. Take another look. Went a little bit deeper. Lots better. That tear out isn't getting worse. Not getting better, but it's not getting worse. Let me sharpen this again. Take the speed up. Only got one more speed gear, so there it is. Felt better with the tool, feels better with the fingers. Alright, so that really wicked torn spot is still there, but it's not growing. So that's good. Good. Gaining. Felt better with the tool, feels great with the hand. And we are all smoothed out. All smoothed out. Lost the nail hole. Ah, there's my nail hole. Need to go a little further. I'll show you the nail hole. So nail hole right there. You can see where I dug it out with the chisel. This is waist block. But there's that little mark right there where the nail drove in. I've got 3 nail holes. I was pretty convinced I was outside of where they were going to be. We will keep turning this thing till I get 0 nail holes, and then that will be my diameter. I love it how things solve themselves. Let's try something now. I'm going to move on to the barrel and clean it up a little bit. Well, one of the things that I've got to face in this thing is I just butt glued these pieces together. So if I cut down too far, all of a sudden I'm going to get a bloodwood ring on the barrel. And if I don't cut down far enough, I'm going to end up with a maple edge to this ring. So I've got to stay in my lines. Ever since 3rd grade I've had trouble staying in the lines. But here we are. I gave it a little bit of a quick sand with my sanding machine, and I'm pretty happy. The bead's just what I wanted here. This bead's pretty good. This down here, the foot, I think I'm just going to put a cavetto in here and have this and this be square. I still have the problem of the nail hole, so I've got to go in and mine that out, but that's simple enough. Once I get that done, I'll know exactly what to do here. I think I'm really close. I want to get the outside dressed off so that no matter at what point I chicken out on the interior of this thing, trying to hollow this out, the outside will be done. If something goes wrong and it goes out of round, I'll be done on the outside. It's not that I won't care. It's just it won't kill me. Anyway, so I'm going to do some sanding. That's going to be boring. I'll bring it back when I go to do this. That should be at least a moment of fun. And then we'll try hollowing this thing out. Oh, God. All right. Hey, I think I'm pretty well done sanding. I think I've got, at the moment, I think I'm good. Let me bring you in closer. I'll show you a couple of little details. Okay, this is that knot hole that that had a broken part where the bark was open, and I put epoxy in it. So that's cleaned up extremely well. Got a couple of bug holes. Bugs are going to remain. I'm not going to concern myself with the bug holes. This is another of the knots that had a hole. This one's not quite flush. I'm unhappy about that, but I think I'll just goober a little bit of glue in that. And this right here is my problem du jour, is this groove right here. This joint got starved. All that glue that you saw me put in, this one got starved a little bit. So I'm going to get some sanding dust from the bloodwood and push it into this joint, and then put some CA glue in it, and we'll take care of that. Let me get some dust. Well, hopefully you can see this all right. Dust. This won't look like the glue, but it will look like the bloodwood, and that's almost as good. All right, so that's pretty well filled. Now a little thin cyanoacrylate glue. It'll soak right into that thing. And then I'll squirt it with some accelerant. Stuff really effing runs. Yeah. That's not my happy place. All right, so that's that. Glued. Now accelerated. I think the accelerant's nothing more than some sort of glorified baking soda and water trick. But anyway, doesn't matter. That's taken care of. Now I had another one. I've got some medium weight glue. I think I'll put a little gobbet of that in there. I'll give that a spritz of accelerant. And that should cause it to set up pretty fast. And now I can go on to this little business right here. All right, let's go do that. The best news for right now is this little edge right here that I have dressed. This has that same grain pattern as the bottom, and it's smoothed out nicely, and there's no chips, at least that I can see at the moment. There are no chips, there are no bad spots in it. This is gonna, it's all sanding. From this point, it's gonna sand up perfectly. So I'm not worried anymore about that initial tearing out that I had. The rest of this barrel is pretty smooth. I mean, there's some lines in it still. You can see, if you have a keen eye, you can see some lines there. Those are, I mean, I've only sanded with 80 grit, so those should all come out. I'm pretty pleased. I think this is going to work. Let's, wonder, have we stalled enough to get to this? Oh yeah, that's hardened up. I can sand this business now. I don't really care that this thing is black or whatever. I don't want it to be red, but I just don't want it to be a hole. Yeah, sure. So this is where I did that filling. I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on it. It's good. It's not as good as it could be. Down to just a couple little lines here. You can probably see that one. It's going to happen. This is looking great now. This is just great. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. All right, so now let's tackle this thing down at the bottom. And first I have to get rid of the nail hole. That shouldn't be that hard. Boom, just take it in a little bit more. And then once I get that done, I'll work out this bead transition to this thing. This is going to be flat, hollow, flat, of some dimensions. And hollow will be bigger than the two flats. Hollow will be more than twice the flat part. It's like a quarter, 5/8, and quarter, something like that. 5/16, 5/16, 5/8, something. Anyway, this right here, this bead will be fine, but if this has to go deeper, I can resolve this to a smaller piece. Not a problem. I'm on track. I'm on track. One line here that's still bothering me. I'm really on track though. Good. Let's sharpen up a scraper and do something there. There's my nail right there. I think it's gone. I think it's gone. So now my problem is any chipping that's left. Chipping's over. Good. This This bloodwood is hard. It is abrasive at the very least. It's taking the edge right off my chisel. I decided I wanted to bring this down thinner. I'm going to rework this, but I wanted this to be stepped in a little bit more than that anyway. Not a big deal. Bead looks good. Cove looks good. I'm going to dress this bead a little bit more. A little bit thinner. What did I do? What did I do? Oh! All right. Good. Good. That could have been worse. I'll just be more careful. Alright, two things left. Two things left. One is some finer sandpaper to doll up this area. The chipping on the rising grain isn't bad, but it's still there. A little more sanding there. A little smoothing there. The rest of this is good. And the last thing is I want to get my parting tool and come in here and cut in a little ways, not far. All right, here we go. This is now time to get inside. I want to get this ring cut on the inside, which shouldn't tear at all. It's Dave's theory. And get a little bit of this started and to the point that this is about to knock out, and then it's get rid of the tailstock. Pretty close to that now. This is so cool. This is so cool. I'm just going to keep cutting. I can go a little bit deeper, not much. That's it. I'm done. So I guess I'm going to sand this inside edge and then yank the tailstock and maybe, all right, it's tailstock time. Edge is fine. Alright. I think, considering the nature of this thing, I'm going to try scraping my way in. No idea what all that racket's about. But so far this has been funny. Lots of shavings. Alright. And now, the great hollowing. Alright. Well, let's see how this works out. I've been using a piece of 5/8 inch rod as a scraper, and that just, it's starting to vibrate way too much. So I grabbed a piece of 1 inch bar, and some ancient piece of 1 inch rod, was a bolt of some nature. Anyway, I'm going to see if that will go in and cut and not vibrate as much. Vibration's sort of annoying me. kind of heavy. This is why we make our tools mostly out of wood with a little bit of metal at the end, because it's lighter. Anyway, I'm about halfway with the thinning process. I'm not unhappy with how it's about half of an inch, maybe 9/16 thick, down to about halfway, and then it boom, swoops back out to its original size. So it's not awful. I think I'd like to lower this a teeny bit. I don't know if I can or not. I think it's about as low as it goes. Alright. Alright. And then back in, do some more scraping. So here I am, I'm almost down, almost all the way. I've turned to there, and I'm going to there. So like 3/4 of an inch. And I'm wondering if I can quit yet, because it's just annoyingly scary. The dust does funny things on the inside. Oh wow! Check this. I don't know if you want to see it. Let me get you someplace close. All right. Well, that's what the inside looks like right now. Boom, 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 boom. You know, that sort of thing. Anyway, be happy to just get it a little bit rounded. I think I can do it. I think it's in range. Let's see what happens. The bottom's really close, but it's only half an inch thick, so I can't really put much shape in it. Certainly not with a 1 1/8 rod that I'm calling a tool. Let me take this back to the grind and put a little bit of edge on it, because it's getting a little bit of a shiny area right there. All right, back from the grinder. Gloves on, because it helps my hands a little bit. At a little bit of an angle. Pretty close. I need to take another peek. I can still see glue. I can still see glue, which means I haven't cut through the bottom yet completely, but I'm not getting that rounded edge quite the way that I want. It's real close though. It's real close. Real close. Going to keep going for it. I want it, if I can, I will consider it a success if I can get that glue smear off and get that transition from the flat bottom to the sides. Ooh. I'm getting scared. I'd hate to lose it now. I'm wondering if I can get out of this thing. You know, I say I still see glue, and there's glue, but my transition to the side is not bad. Not that anyone but Catherine is going to care, but it's really not bad. little, oh geez, I can feel a teeny bit. Am I going crazy or what? Don't answer that. All right, one more time. One more time. Ooh. 2 gloves. And then, I don't know what, wrap my hand in sandpaper, shove it in there and hope I don't get caught. Sure, that's it. Next will be sanding. And, yeah. Oh, that's it. I've got it. I've got it. It's good. Thank goodness. All right. Let's get some sandpaper and sand this damn thing up. Great. Be right back. So it's time. I'm going to part this thing off. I don't want to have to saw it. I know that sounds like I'm being lazy. Maybe that's what it is. But what I've done is I've rigged up a little thing. I've got a piece of wood that I've been turning, going to turn into some feet. And it's about the right size to fit inside the urn. I've got it propped up on some pieces of wood clamped to the ways. And the urn spins freely around it, just barely, but it does. So I'm going to part it off, and when it gets broken off completely, it won't fall down because it's going to be catching on that. That's what I believe. Let's see if that happens, because this is all it's a bunch of firsts here. It's the first time I've done something as deep as this. It's the first time I've tried parting something off like this. What could go wrong? All this preparation, I've just taken the corner of my tool. I hit some screws. Those screws that I use to screw the bottom of this on are just exactly the right length, but not if you take 1/8 of an inch off the inside of the plate, which I just did. All right, I'm done. At least I found out what could go wrong. I guess I'll take it apart and do it the other way. While I'm here, I'm going to sand this inside edge a little bit more. Done. Take this mess apart. See you over at the workbench.